We're going to look at the economic goals of a market economy. First one is efficiency we're going to look at, and this is extremely important. What we see here is some businessmen competing. Competition is extremely important in a market economy. We use our resources as best we can. The goal is to make as much money as you possibly can. The way we make money here in the United States is to use our resources wisely. We do not waste things. So market economies is extremely important to be efficient. When we looked at a command economy, the government didn't have any competition, so they weren't worried about being efficient. But in a market economy, it's all about, they take this idea of scarcity very seriously. We have limited resources. We must use them more efficient than our competition. That's how we make money. Equity. In a market economy, we're not worried about equality of position. So we're not trying to redistribute income and make sure that everyone has exactly the same thing. In a market economy, what is really important is this idea of equal opportunity. People are free to make their own decisions on how to use their resources and capabilities, but there is no guarantee of success. So the income that you make depends on how good of a job you do. You're not guaranteed a job, you're not guaranteed anything. And so we're not going to give equal distribution of goods and services, but what we are going to in a market economy is give everyone the same opportunities. And so we implement laws and we place regulations where you have to treat men and women and handicapped, and everyone must be treated equally. So that's where the equity comes in a market economy, not equality of condition, not everyone having the same money or the same goods and services, but everyone having the same opportunities. Freedom is extremely important. Supply and demand play a huge role in what's going to be produced, how it's going to be produced, and who's going to get the stuff. And this idea of private ownership, whether it's of our own labor, whether it's of the capital, whether it's of businesses, it doesn't matter. Freedom is extremely, extremely important in a market economy. We determine how resources are going to be used. The government stays out of it. Economic growth. There are incentives for individuals and businesses to produce more and to avoid waste. Specialization. We invest in capital equipment. We invest in human capital. We've talked about that. Education and training and all that's extremely important. The government does play a small role in our economy because, once again, all economies are mixed. But in a pure market economy, the government would not protect any of this. If you create a design, you make the money on that, but it's not necessarily protected in a pure market. That's why, once again, all economies are mixed. If you produce a product here in the United States, you can put patents on it, you put copyrights. Intellectual protection of property rights is extremely important here. If you create a design or if you create a product, we want you to be able to make money off of that. That promotes growth. That gives you an incentive to continue to innovate and do better. Once again, in a command economy, there's no incentive because you can't own anything. If you invent something or make something, the government's just going to take it and own it themselves. Security and stability. In most market economies, you do have some sort of protection. Some of it more in some countries than others because of that mixed economy. But when we look at the economic goal of security and stability, we do have unemployment. So if you are unemployed for a specific period of time, and you meet a certain set of criteria, then you are going to be able to collect unemployment. Social Security, that's just to name a few. We have Medicare, we have Medicaid, we have disability, we have all kinds of security programs that are in place to make sure that people are taken care of. But in a market economy, the most important goals are this idea of probably number one, economic freedom is extremely important. You have to be efficient. You have to use your resources efficiently. We cannot waste. Competition is extremely important. those two things, freedom and efficiency, promote growth when we don't have the government getting involved in that. Probably the least important of these in a market economy. This idea of everyone sharing equally in everything, and then providing safety nets for everyone in that particular economy.